Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by Matt Weigl, the head boys basketball coach at Chesaning High School. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So let's talk about how the season's going. I know have a bit of a tough stretch there. Lost to a pretty good Norvell team last night, but overall, how do you think the season's going for you guys?
I'd say it's pretty good. Had you told me at the beginning of the season that at this point we'd be 10-3 and 6-1 in our conference, tied for first place, I'd be pretty happy with that. So, not a lot to complain about at this point. We just got off of a very tough 5 games and 8 days stretch. So we're taking a much needed day off today, and the second half of our conference play starts on Friday. So that's really where our focus is now, is gearing up for the second half of the conference. But overall, no, we're really pleased at where we're at. I mean, obviously there's some room to grow and some things we got to tweak and refine, but at this point we're pretty happy.
Yeah. So going into just talk about some of the guys that have really kind of made an impact for your team this year.
Yeah, we're really fortunate this year to have a lot of seniors return. Has been with us for 2-3 years, so that's been really big for us, especially early on in the season. But one that obviously stands out is Mason Struck. Kid plays a lot of basketball. He's been with us since his freshman year. He's a junior right now. 6'6", wing forward, averaging 16 points a game, 19 points a game in conference. Gets us 6-7 boards a game. Really active defensively, gets his hands on a lot of balls and makes it tough for offenses. So he's been big for us. And then of course, as I mentioned, we got a lot of seniors back as well. Evan List has been shooting the ball really well for us lately. Reese Greenfelder is kind of one of those guts and glue hustle type players. So you need some of those guys. Eli Escamilla and Lucas Powell have been running guards for us for the last couple of years. So, like I said, Jalen Anderson, can't forget him coming off the bench and giving us a spark. So we've been fortunate to have a lot of guys returning, and that's helped us early on this year.
So going into, you've got a tough conference. The MMAC is always going to be tough for you guys, but overall, the league's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah. So right now, yeah, you're right. There's a 3-way tie for first place between us, Durand, and Ovid Elsie. Durand beat Ovid Elsie early in the year. We got Durand last Friday, and then Ovid Elsie got us on Monday. So at this point, it's those 3 teams at the top. But I tell you what, there's a lot of teams outside of those 3 who can beat you on any night. Northrop's got a great offensive player in Ty Coleman. He's had 40-plus points twice already this year. Mount Morris has a couple of guards who are phenomenal athletes. They make it tough on you. Montrose has been solid this year as well. Ovid Elsie right now is, I think they're playing some of the best basketball that they've played all season. And of course, Durand's good as well. So yes, this is a tough league, and night in and night out, a lot of teams do some unique things. So there's a lot of scout that goes into each matchup too.
Yeah. So Matt, kind of tell me where are you at right now? Like, where do you think you're at right now?
Well, I like to think that we have a chance to compete for the conference championship this year. I think we have a chance to be one of those top teams when it's all said and done. But obviously we got to keep improving. I think there's been points this season that we've kind of gone a little stagnant with our progress. And so that's where we're at right now is look, we see where the ceiling could be, and we see where we're at, and we know that it's going to take some work to get to where we need to be. And so it's just getting that mentality across to everybody that, look, we got to keep improving because other teams are going to keep improving. And if we stay where we're at, it's going to be tough to beat the top teams in this league.
Yeah. And really just kind of preview the next few games, for you guys, heading into the next few weeks.
Yeah. So next week we play at Mount Morris. And they gave us all we could handle at our play. We ended up pulling that game out by 19, but it wasn't that. It was a much closer game than that final score indicated. So we're not taking them lightly by any means. They're going to give us all we can handle at their place. And then we went to Montrose just a couple weeks ago, and we barely survived. We got out of there with the 1-point win. So we got both of those teams coming up next week, and that's obviously where our focus is at. We got to take it one game at a time because, as I mentioned, anybody can get you on any night in this league. We do finish up our conference schedule, the last 2 games of our conference with OE and Durand, and so if all holds as it is now, those last 2 games will be really big for us. But like I said, we got to take it one game at a time for now.
And just really trying to talk about what do you want to see out of your team in these next few weeks?
Yeah, I want to see us. We need to be more efficient offensively. We've had nights where we've been really, really solid offensively, and then we've had nights where we've turned the ball over too much. We've taken poor shots, and so our focus right now is to become more consistently efficient offensively, as any team wants to do, but especially as we're going into the second half of conference play, where teams have already seen us once. We really want to lock in where we are offensively. Our defense has been really sound, but there's room to improve there. We do some unique things defensively. And again, teams have seen it already once this year, and so now they're game planning for how they can counter that. So we need to make sure that we're also, being consistent with what we do defensively as well.
All right. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck to you guys the rest of the year.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.